Hello guys, and we have developed another very effective strategy. We target Russian military air bases and destroy their strategic bombers, combat helicopters and oil depots that they use to fuel all these instruments of war. This helps to save a lot of innocent Ukrainian lives and also to demilitarize Russia, which is the only way to achieve lasting peace in Europe and the world. Today, Ukrainian drones worked in Ryazan region, in Saratov region, and in Bryansk region. And I will tell you more about those airfields and bombers that were neutralized. And please compare that to a Russian attack, which they describe as an answer to our spiderweb operation. I will remind you, in the result of that spiderweb, Russia lost 1/3 of its strategic bombers. And in contrast, today they targeted apartment buildings, including in my city, Lutsk. And in my city, Lutsk, they killed a young couple. I guess these people were approximately 20 years old and they slept on the 8th floor of their apartment building. This is what Russia does, and of course it's not about victory, it's not about invasion, it's about the desire to destroy my country, understanding that they fail to occupy us or they fail to win in general. And that is why all those people who care for the law, who care for the rules, who care for the human life, must stand together with Ukraine, and I know there are a lot of us. So let's talk about this extended Russian geography lesson and what is the working peace plan, the only working peace plan. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat of the Kremlin, subscribe, we will discuss that on the channel sometime really soon. And this night was loud, both in Ukraine and Russia. But in Ukraine, they kept targeting civilian districts, and in Russia, we continued with the demilitarization of legitimate targets. Ukrainian drones have visited a number of military air bases located in Saratov, located in Bryansk, and in Ryazan regions. Let's start with the one in Saratov because that is huge and closely located to another target that was also demilitarized, an oil refinery. That is an oil refinery used for the needs of the Russian aviation. They are located next to each other, and that is all in Engels. I have already told you once about this location because it was targeted by Ukrainian drones in 2024, and it was famous for the fires that continued for approximately a week. Perhaps that is the record-breaking target in Russia because that detonation and that fire was huge. Maybe this will be the same this time, taking into account that both locations were neutralized, the military airfield and an oil refinery. Why do we do that? Because all of these bombers are used to attack Ukraine just as they do today, yesterday, and 3 years ago. Those of you who say that now Russia will respond, I am sorry. Russia responded to the world, not to Ukraine, back in 2014 when it annexed Crimea, undermining the international law and all those organizations that are supposed to protect the rules. So the only working peace plan is to demilitarize Russia, and even with those awful combined attacks when they send 400 drones and lots of missiles, for example, on my city, Lutsk, they sent tonight 15 drones and 6 missiles. That is the largest attack on my city ever. And it resulted in the murder of 2 civilians. And this is what Russia describes as an answer to the destruction of their strategic aviation. And trust me, people, even Russian vloggers are dissatisfied with that. Because by targeting apartment buildings, you do not achieve anything apart from that scenes and violence that I am sure destiny will punish them for. And Ukraine does the contrary. We destroy those bombers that they used to terrorize us. And what is beautiful in many of these operations, we managed to neutralize these strategic cruise missile carriers when they are loaded with cruise missiles. This is beautiful because we neutralize cruise missiles. We send the message and they detonate. Guys, they detonate way better. I mean, charged with missiles, they explode much better than without that. And by visiting those military airfields just hours before they want to come and terrorize our country, we succeed. Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine and to see Russia defeated. And please support our NAFO campaign, because that is the way to achieve lasting peace. And we have decided to add a new patch that actually marks the success of Spiderweb. And I think all of you will love this patch with Maluk, the head of the SBU, and a person behind the success of the Spiderweb operation. A totally different level of war. Everything according to the rules, according to the respect of laws of war, because such exists. And extremely effective. So effective that Trump and Putin cannot comment it for weeks. They pretend it didn't happen. But fortunately, we have a lot of military experts. We have countries in NATO. We have the head of the alliance, and all they speak about this genius of the Ukrainian forces to do that. And when it's really difficult to speak about these attacks as an expert, but what we hear both in Ukraine and abroad is that for this combined attack tonight, Russia had to use a more unsuitable Tu-160. They are more expensive. They are not that designed for this terror that they want for the operation, which is another evidence that they've lost a lot, and that loss of strategic cruise missile carriers is felt. By the way, it's very likely that my city, Lutsk, was targeted by North Korean missiles. So, those who are afraid of the World War, remember, Ukraine is like in Europe, and North Korea is really far away. And my city, Lutsk, is like 100 kilometers away from Poland, from the EU border. And that is where North Korea drops its missiles. Do you think that's okay? Don't you think that is already a global conflict, as cowards love saying? So let's continue with other objects that were successfully demilitarized and more cities protected, more people survived. Think about it that way. If we did not destroy bombers, if we did not destroy arsenals, oil refineries, they could visit more Ukrainian cities and target more Ukrainian apartment buildings. That's what they do during these years. Never connected to Ukrainian acts of defense. The only way to end this war is to defeat Russia, and that is possible. Trust me, everyone thinks that way. And during the night that I had to spend in the corridor, do you know what we were doing? Donating. It is much better than anger to transform your emotions into something really working, like drones. And here I remind you again about the NAFO campaign. So we have also targeted Bryansk military airfield, and there Ukrainian drones neutralized a very expensive Mi-8 helicopter. That's a combat helicopter. And we have destroyed a lot of them, including two with a marine marine drone. That was one of the first operations in history when a marine drone targeted and destroyed two flying objects. And a helicopter M35 was severely damaged too. And another visit was paid by the Ukrainian drones to the military airfield in Dyagilevo, Ryazan region. We often hear about that airbase because they often send bombers from that direction to destroy our lives, our cities. And it is strategic for the fueling of their aircraft, because they have something specific, maybe some other planes there that allow this fueling of aircraft in the air. I don't know how to describe that properly, but that's what they do. And all of that neutralized, paralyzed, which means Russia has fewer and fewer instruments of war against us and against many other countries, because let's be realistic. on their state TV, their vloggers, they openly speak about the need to attack other countries. And with Trump's behavior, with these quarrels, with this chaos, with these inadequate reactions, the West civilization is really in danger. And here I'm proud again that we have Ukraine, that you have Ukraine, and more countries, especially those who realize the dangers coming from Russia and the Ukrainian experience, they say they want security guarantees not from NATO, but they want security guarantees from Ukraine. That is not a compliment anymore. That is the reality. Remember to check our merch shop. We've got a special summer drop. Also to celebrate spider web and the way we defend our country. That is truly changing the rules of war. And let me know, would you like a separate video about this meaning of spider web for the warfare? Because I watched a number of videos of the Ukrainian experts and international experts who actually say that with this operation we changed the rules of war. And nuclear weapons, to some extent, is not a decisive factor anymore. And it goes about aircraft, even Elon Musk spoke about that. It goes about many other things. So many countries who believe they are strong just because they possess nuclear weapons may turn into dinosaurs, especially if their nuclear warheads carriers are so vulnerable. And by the way, they say they had a failed launch of Oreshnik. So Russian revenge, as they call it, is to target sleeping children in flats and to fail with their Oreshnik start and target somewhere in Kazakhstan. That is pathetic, and that is the proof that Russia can and will be defeated. Follow me on X, I'm fighting there, and many people return on X to see how Musk and Trump are quarreling. Also on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky, and we have an amazing Discord community. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for being friends of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!